So I need to. So good evening and welcome to Sit Chat talk show, which I've been hosting for the last 6 months, mainly with the objective of talking about topics which could be of interest to startups. And here on the screen, you see some of the topics which we have been discussing about. Anything to do with a startup is what I have tried to work in this space. And over the next 1 hour approximately, we would have one of the speakers. I'll introduce her as we move along to talk about a topic for the day. Before we do that, let me just share my disclaimer, which basically talks about us trying to do this activity in a very noble purpose. And definitely we have people who are professionals and they have their information already validated and proven, but still it is required that you please talk to your trusted professionals before you implement any suggestion or any insight that you may get from this workshop, from this chat. Today we have Shilpa Datar, Dr. Shilpa Datar, who is a psychometric assessment specialist in the Vedic way. She has done her psychology and also research on the same sort of topic from Bangalore. And it would be really great to listen and understand her way of doing a psychometric assessment, which is the Indian way, apart from so many other Western tools available in the market today. After that, we can have a short discussion on this topic. Before handing over to her, a very quick introduction about myself. I am a consultant right now. Earlier to this, I was working in Bosch, a multinational company, and that I did for almost 26 years before doing consulting, helping companies improve their performance. With that brief introduction, over to you, Shilpa ji, to take over and then share your wisdom on psychometric assessments. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dinakar sir, and I'm very happy to be here today. I've been a part of SIT for some time now, and it's lovely to be invited as a speaker here. So thank you so much for that.
Our pleasure.
You can see my screen, sir?
Yeah, very much. Please go on.
Okay, so I can start?
Yes, please go on. Please go on.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for being here today to listen to me. I'm Dr. Shilpa Datar, and I'm the founder of Swime Analytics Private Limited. It's a psychometric assessment company. So I'll start with, why Indian psychology, why I started on this journey. I used to work with children with special needs about 25 years ago in 97, 98. And as a psychologist, when I was doing assessments for them, I realized that all the tests that were being used were all foreign tests and were not applicable to Indian people. Hello? Hello?
Please go on.
Yeah. So they were not applicable to Indian people. And I realized that because of them not being applicable, there was a huge impact on the students, that is the special needs students, because many of them were being categorized as, having learning disability, dyslexia, so on and so forth, and they were being put into special needs schools. So I'm sure all of you know that the minute any child goes into special needs schools in India, they don't have access to a good education or a career. And I felt that this was a huge, very unfair disadvantage that these children were facing. And I wanted to do something to help them, help identify their issues at a younger age and see how we could give them the support to overcome. So that's where it started. And by then I was already very disillusioned with the Western models of personality and understanding people, because none of them come together to give you a whole understanding. So each of them are brilliant in their own way. But if you try to bring them all together to give you one complete understanding of a person from birth to death, it doesn't do that. And if you look at physics, chemistry, mathematics, and all that, they're all universal laws. They're applicable to people in each and every country, irrespective. But in psychology, it is not the same. It looks at people from each domain. Each country has a different set of understanding and so on and so forth. And I felt that that itself was also another disadvantage. And I wanted to see, what I could do to develop a theory of personality which would be applicable to people across the world, irrespective of race, caste, religion, socio-demographic details, geographical location, and so on. And that's when I came across the Indian philosophical text, the Indian methodology. That is a 5-element theory, the Panchamahabhutas. So what is this? So that's where I did my PhD from the Indian psychology perspective. So what is Indian psychology? Indian psychology is the psychology that has come to us from the different classical texts like the Vedas, Upanishads, Sankhya, Yoga, Ayurveda, and so on. So they all have a lot of information about mind and behavior, which is what I have done. I have collated all that information, imported all of them into the domain of psychology. And from there, I have developed the tests to assess personality. So in India, according to the different, there are Shak Darshanas, that is 6 schools of thought. According to all of them, there are 3 main ways in which we understand personality. The first is the Panchakosha method, which is mentioned for the first time in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. So that is, they are all sheets, and they are so subtle that you can't see. You can only, understand them through different sources. And that's very difficult for you to understand a person, interpret a person's behavior based on the sheet, based on the Pancha Kosha method. And then the second one is the Tridoshas, which is predominantly Ayurvedic, because they have imported that from, taken it, not even imported, they've taken it fully from the Sankhyan philosophy, and then developed a very beautiful philosophy and the methodology to understand the doshas, and then give them the treatment necessary. So it's very well delineated in the classical Ayurvedic texts. The third is the Trigunas, which is common to all schools of thought. All the Shad Darshanas, Vedas, Upanishads, everywhere they talk about the gunas. In fact, Bhagavad Gita is considered to be the foremost psychology text, not only in India, but across the world. And there you have Shri Krishna talking to Arjuna about, how does a man with Satvika Manobhava behave? How does a man with a Rajasika Manobhava behave? And so on and so forth. And these 3 are the main ways in which we understand personality from the Indian perspective, from the Indian psychological perspective. Both Tridoshas and Trigunas are composed of the Panchamahabhutas, which are the 5 primordial elements that are central to all darshanas, all Puranas, everywhere. So the Sankhyan philosophy, where it first originates, which is very laid out. Sankhya is atheistic, by the way, and both Ayurveda and Sankhya are completely based on, Ayurveda and Yoga are completely based on Sankhyan philosophy. Yoga takes the other thing of Ishvara Pranidhana, puts that on top of the Sankhyan philosophy and makes it theistic. So in Sankhyan philosophy, you have only 2, identities, which is Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti is insentient, while Purusha is sentient. And it is only with the conjunction of the 2 that the entire universe comes into being. And this conjunction is not sexual union. It is just a conjunction. And then they evolve into Mahat, or cosmic intellect, which in turn evolves into the 3 kinds of Ahankara, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, which is different from the gunas of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, which we talk about when we talk about it from the human perspective. So I'm sure you all know in Sanskrit, there are different meanings associated with one word when it's used in different connotation. So in that way, there are different Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas also. So these 3 Ahankaras evolve into the 11 senses and the elements and substances, which in turn evolves into the 5, subjective senses, the objective senses, the elements, the gross substances, and finally the mind. So these are 24 tattvas. And then what are the Panchamahabhutas? They are the Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Up, and Prithvi. Ether, air, fire, water, and earth. So these 5 Mahabhutas, they combine with each other at the physiological level to form the Tridoshas of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and at the psychological level to form the Trigunas of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Now these Panchamahabhutas, the precursor to them, the more subtler form of the Panchamahabhutas are the Panchatanmatras. So each Tanmatra, they evolve into the respective Panchamahabhutas, and that in turn evolves into the respective organ and the sense of hearing. So Shabda Tanmatra evolves into the Akasha Mahabhuta, which in turn evolves into the organ of ear and the sense of hearing, and so on for all the 5 Mahabhutas. So Akasha and Vayu, that is ether and air, combine with each other to form the Vata dosha. Fire and water combine with each other to form the Pitta dosha, and water and earth combine with each other to form the Kapha dosha. Vata is predominantly Rajas and also a little bit of Sattvic. Pitta is predominantly Sattvic and also has an element of Rajas and Tamas in it. And Kapha is predominantly Tamasic, but also has an element of Sattva in it. The reason why I'm taking you through this is I will explain to you, it's a progression. So after you come to towards another 5 minutes, you'll know why this is there. So you'll be able to understand behavior on your own without having me to, tell you from now onwards. So each of the doshas are also, you can't say that a person is predominantly only Vata dosha and he or she doesn't have Kapha or the Pitta dosha in him or her. Because if you see those dotted areas, those are the conjunction areas. So a person can also be Vata Kapha dominant or Kapha Vata dominant, where Kapha is more dominant than the Vata, Vata dosha. Same way you can have Kapha Pitta or Pitta Kapha, Pitta Vata or Vata Pitta. Like that, you have 10 different combinations you can have. So the same way you have for the gunas also. So like I mentioned, the doshas are the physiological aspect where we categorize a person. The gunas are the psychological aspect. So you have sattva, rajas, and tamas, and then their combinations. And the one in the center is a person who is equally, all three are in equal proportion in them. The salient characteristics of the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha are that Vata is unpredictable, it's erratic in all behavior, fast, restless, creative, very, very similar or almost the same as air, because air is not something that you can control. It moves as it wants. It's very erratic. It can also be very destructive. It's fast, it's restless, and it's also very creative. So those are the kind of qualities that Vata dosha gives to people who are Vata dominant. The same way, the Pitta dosha gives these qualities to the people who are Pitta dominant. And same with Kapha. And then if the person is a combination, predominantly everybody, all of us are combinations of, all these doshas and gunas. And if it's a combination, then you have taken on certain characteristics of Vata, whichever is dominant, Vata, Pitta, Pitta, Vata, whatever it is. The same way, the predominant characteristics, the salient characteristics of sattva is that it is intelligence, gives fortitude, it's gentle, it's truthful, benevolent, virtuous, and harmonious. So a person who is sattvic dominant would have these kind of qualities in them in a larger extent. The same way with rajas and tamas also. So there are, like I mentioned earlier, there are 7 or 10 types of doshas and guna combinations of people. And then we have something called as the 16 classical personality types, which is a taxonomy, and I'll show you that. And then I have been able to identify 189 traits in people, which run the entire gamut of human behavior. So there are 7 types of sattvic personality, 6 types of rajasic, and 3 types of tamasic personality, which comes to the 16 classical personality types. There are 100 sattvic traits, 60 rajasic, and 29 tamasic traits. So if you look at this slide, right side, right at the bottom, you have Vanaspatya Sattva. A Vanaspatya Sattva person, and there are just very poor English equivalents because no Sanskrit word can be really well translated into English. And these are very ancient words, so it was obviously very difficult for me. So these are just poor, equivalents. So Vanaspatya Sattva person is somebody who's very, who likes to vegetate, so doesn't really like to do anything major work, doesn't like to think too much, is not very intellectually inclined, and so on and so forth. And if you look right up to Brahma Sattva, which is on the left side, the first one, that is also called Brihaspati Sattva. So from Brihaspati to Vanaspati, you have an entire taxonomy. So from Vanaspati, if you want to evolve, all of us have certain shades of all these in us. So if you want to evolve, you have to see how you can evolve to the next higher being, so that and that's what we are doing, continuously evolving to be a better person of ourselves, better version of ourselves, so that at the end, we are able to reach Brihaspati Sattva and then get final beatitude. So even in psychology also, we are looking at it as how a person is always trying to evolve, always trying to improve themselves, and then go ahead in life. So, and when a person comes to know what it is that they are and what they need to improve, it becomes much easier than being clueless about it and, like a blind man looking for a black hat in a dark room. So rather than that, it makes a lot of sense to have some inputs about who I am, what am I doing here, how can I improve myself. And then these items that I've developed, questions are generally called items in psychology. They're based on the literature, like I mentioned earlier, from the different texts of Sankhya, Ayurveda, Bhagavad Gita, and so on. I import, and Puranas, of course. And then I imported them into the domain of psychology, identified statements that were dealing with behavior, manas, and so on. And then got approval from a committee of experts from the different domains of philosophy, Sanskrit, psychology, and so on. Ayurveda, yoga, and all that, and then developed the tests. The tests underwent 47 revisions each, and then they were administered on 5th standard government school children to make sure that they are that people can easily understand them. I've not used any Sanskrit words or jargons in them. It's in plain, simple English, easy to understand. And then using that, we've developed my own software, which is online at our website. And the tests, there are 17 plus paper publications that I have. And because of the stringent norms that I adopted while developing the test, it's being used for research in multiple countries like India, in the US, in Germany, and so on. And we have applied it to everyday settings, try to make it more accessible to people rather than it sitting in a textbook, or even in a book in a library gathering dust. So we are working with students where we identify their behavior challenges and then help them to develop their personality for career guidance, to help people with their SWOT analysis. And then with corporates for recruitment, as well as for employee engagement and employee development. And then we're also working with yoga institutes to offer, essentially what we're doing is Prakriti analysis. So we help them to identify the Prakriti of the individual and based on that perform yoga so that it's more in tune with your body, with your mind, and they will be able to stay healthy for a long time because yoga is not competitive. If you look at Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, he talks very clearly about what kind of asanas one should do and one should not do to stay healthy. Unfortunately, that's missed out now. We're trying to bring that back into the market. And then, of course, marketing, sales, matrimonial relationships, research, of course. So to give you a very brief, quick understanding as to how we do it, if you look at the person on the left, he is or she is very stable and a methodical person. The person on the right is, very bouncy, very creative, a very high energy person. And their qualities are, their characteristics are listed out there. And what kind of, jobs would they perform well at? So the person on the left would do well at desk jobs, like a CA, like an administrative role, roles that require methodical attention to detail, like a factory manager kind of a thing. While the person on the right is very creative, so they would very original in their thinking. So they would do well as, in any design and creative areas. They would do well in sports, in combining sports, creativity, and so on. So marketing is another field that they would do well. So that's how we have, and these are also being tested at our site with multiple thousands of users. And that's how we've been able to come to this conclusion as well. So a brief introduction about Swayam. We've combined the ancient 5-element theory of personality analysis and combined it with modern psychometric methodology and assessments methodology, where we have brought in the physiological, psychological, and ethical evaluation and data and statistical analysis to come up with Swayam, which is a psychometric assessment portal where we assess people on the physiological, psychological, and ethical aspects of behavior. We have demonstrated multiple use cases for this, starting from students, corporates, for relationships, and so on. And this work is based on more than 12 years of research that I conducted, and I got my PhD based on this work from University of Mysore. It's been standardized and it's applicable for Indians, unlike other foreign tests. There are 17 plus peer-reviewed publications that I have in international journals. We do a holistic assessment of personality, and the knowledge advisory that we have consists of 2 Padma Shri awardees, university deans, professors, vice chancellors, and very, very well-known people in the area, in the different areas that I've been talking about. We have 1 patent, 8 copyrights, and 3 trademarks that we have applied for. Many of them have already been granted. The tests have also been accredited by Indian Institute of Business Psychology. And I've also won quite a few awards for my work, both from India and abroad. And our tests are being used, like I mentioned, for research in multiple countries. I'd be happy to take any questions if you have them.
First of all, thanks a lot, Shilpa ji. It was really very, very exciting, I would say. Outstanding what you have done, what you have achieved. So
Thank you, sir.
Before we open up the floor, I've got 3 questions to ask, and then
sure,
we can get others to comment also or ask a question. See, you spoke about the Swayam way of assessment. And my question is, see, if you look at today, Swayam may not be known to many, but people are quite comfortable with DISC assessment, MBTI assessment, or with Enneagram, etc. So how does this differ from that? What is the core differentiator between the two?
Yeah. So first is that our test is based on the Indian knowledge systems, while those are, Western psychological methods. Second is that we are the only company to assess people on the physiological, psychological, and ethical aspects of behavior. None of the tests that you spoke about, DISC, MBTI, the Big Five, none of them assess people on the physiological. They've always had a very different outlook over there, where they say that we don't need to study the body to understand the mind. And that's where, from India, we differ quite strongly about that, because if I'm unwell, I cannot stand and speak to you like this over here. If I'm unwell, I cannot do my work. It's going to have an effect. Psychosomatic diseases like BP, diabetes, and all that are all because of your body and mind interaction. Your stress is completely body and mind interaction. So if you cannot divorce the body and the mind and then say, I don't need to study the body. And then also comes in your ethical and spiritual aspect. And I'm not looking at religion. So religion and spirituality, of course, I'm sure you all know, it's very different. I'm just bringing it to your attention. So if you look at it, then you need to understand the spirituality of the person also, because somebody who's highly spiritual is not going to be doing something that is against nature, against your environment, against the principles of human nature, human beings, and so on and so forth. And then also, none of them have been standardized for an Indian audience. If you look at MBTI, you can take MBTI today. It'll give you, maybe you're an ENTJ, ENFJ, something like that. You take it next week, it'll give you a completely different answer. Correct? Any psychometric test, the gold rule is that the psychometric test has to be, reliable over a period of time and on multiple sets of people. Do they, conform to that rule? First is that MBTI doesn't, because every time you take it, it's going to be different, right? So Big Five is a good test, but again, it's not been standardized over here. And Big Five essentially says that it assesses the 5, core principles of people, of human nature. But are there only 5 principles by which you can assess people? Are they are only 5 things that, that dominate you, that determine who you are, what you do as a person? I don't think so. There are so many things. Yeah, there are so many things that come to make up a human being, and 5 is really too less for you to base your decision about somebody on.
Absolutely.
And that's characteristically different from.
Thank you so much. Then the next question which I had was, how can your assessment be used by doctors? Let us say Ayurvedic doctors. Have you given a thought to that?
Yes. We are trying to look at that also. I mean, we are speaking to them. So first is that Ayurvedic doctors are very against any technology. It's a very closed community. So in my work only, I found it very difficult to, crack that code, the Prakriti code. And then we're trying now, but now the later crop of doctors, the younger ones that are there, they are very open to using technology. And they're quite happy to use this, because the traditional method is for that Nadi Pariksha. And Nadi Pariksha is very difficult, because people, to teach them itself, you don't have in colleges now. And there's just one family in Kerala who's doing it, and they don't teach it to everybody. So if you don't get the Nadi Pariksha right, then you don't know how to treat the person. So now they're open to using this, because this test has been compared with Ayurvedic doctors in SDM College of Ayurveda in Udupi. we went, I had gone there personally, did it with students and all that, and they have, accepted that this is equally, if not better than Nadi Pariksha, because not everybody can do Nadi Pariksha. So of course we're trying to see how we can break that market and get in. That's a tough task again.
Yeah. And the last question is, see, yesterday I happened to get a mail from Founder Institute. That's a American organization with very active presence in India. And in
Yes.
India, it is done by a friend of mine by name Naveen Lakur.
Okay.
So he runs the India part of it. So they sent a mail as a marketing mail to say that, look, you can do an assessment to understand how good a founder are you?
Yes.
How good are your skills suitable to be a founder?
Yes.
Can you develop something like that for our SIT group so that we can
We
use
already
it
have one.
For the
we
founder?
already have one. It's being used by Deshpande Startups, Deshpande Foundation in Hubli. And yeah, they have certified that they're using it. We've got quite good testimonials from them.
So can we use that in our SIT group? If you can,
sure,
help us out. Maybe I talk to you offline and then we can do that.
Sure,
Okay,
definitely.
Sure. Thank you so much. Dr. Sharath Airani, please go on. You please introduce yourself and then ask your question or place a comment, please.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me. Very good evening to all of you. And thanks Shilpa ji for a wonderful presentation with including Ayurveda and all other combinations.
Thank you, sir.
My two queries, I am not saying it's the questions. One is that your assessment is basically only on the questionnaire, or is there any physical tests are involved? That is one question. Second question in relation to that, now I don't know whether it is terminology, technology, or go for whatever. The DMIT is one of the big concepts which is coming up, and every nook and corner you have these concepts running around. They have the fingerprints assessed, and the logic and other things is debatable. But what kind of combination and what kind of personal traits you can come in? These are two my queries. How do you address these?
Doctor,
Yes.
would you like to introduce yourself, please, so that we don't...
Sorry, I missed on that. My name is Sharath Airani. I'm based out of Pune. I am a doctorate in computer science. My core area is information security and information maintenance, cyber law. I've worked with 32 years with the corporate world, and now I am consulting to many organizations in setting up the IT world, and then processing and setting up the process and defining the process, all other activities. So
Thank you so much,
for
sir.
last 3 years, I am on my own as a consultant.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks for allowing me.
Yeah, please.
Thanks.
Over to you, Shilpa ji. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Yeah, so the first question as to whether there is any physical examination involved, no. It's completely questionnaire based. It's all in multiple choice questions. In fact, the short questionnaire takes about 15 minutes for a person to answer. And then you can get your report within a minute after that. So I hope that answers your question.
Sorry to interrupt you, because when it is only based on the question and answers, it can be biased.
Yes,
there can
absolutely.
be some different inputs,
but we've also brought in a mechanism.
Sorry, please
no,
go ahead.
We've also brought in the mechanism where we can identify if the person has answered the test honestly, if they've manipulated it, if they've got confused, and that comes out in the report.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other part of his question was about DMIT, which is...
DMIT is, like you very rightly said, it's fingerprint analysis. So it's essentially palmistry, which, with your parrot you used to have on the footpath sitting, one chap. So it is equivalent to that, according to me. We have the Psychiatrist Association of India also, who has certified that, DMIT is non-scientific and requesting parents not to go in for that for their students. I can share that, in the SIT group if Dinakar sir permits.
Yeah, sure.
And then, yeah, it's not that I'm trying to put something else down, but then that's been, sent by the Psychiatric Association of India. The third point is you can go and ask any person who's doing DMIT if there's any research backing it. It is not backed by research. The other thing is that all the data that they collect is sent out to other countries outside India. And that itself is a huge concern, because we don't want data going out from India to Singapore, China, or it could be any other country also. It's dangerous to send data about Indian people out to a different country. We are seeing that today. So if you ask for DMIT, then I'm quite against DMIT. I'm sure you understood that by now. It's not scientific, and I don't really support it.
Is it possible that the DMIT is an evolution of Nadi astrology?
No. Nadi astrology, is it?
Nadi also is something where you take a fingerprint and then find out.
No, Nadi is this pulse. Nadi
no,
is
not
pulse.
the pulse.
No.
Yes.
We call as Nadi Pulse, but in Vaitishwaran Koil, that is a place in Tamil Nadu.
That is Nadi Shastra. That is
Nadi Jyotisha.
Nadi Jyotisha, Nadi Shastra. That is very different.
So there they use a fingerprint only.
They call it one more Vedic science, astrology, that comes under palm. They write it on palm leaf and all that, no?
That is the one. That is the Nadi one.
Correct.
Yeah. So that is supposed to be something which was written by Agastya Mahamuni, and then some person in Chola Kingdom, I believe, translated it to Tamil, and that entire set of leaves are available with a lot of people there in Vaitishwaran.
Correct. It's available in Bangalore also. One person has it in Bangalore also.
Yeah,
but that's a completely different thing. That doesn't come into the domain of science. No.
I don't know whether this
actually
DMIT,
modern science. What I mean is modern science.
Whether this DMIT is an evolution of that, I don't know, because there you take
DMIT is not Indian at all. No, it's come from Singapore and other Chinese countries, from China somewhere.
Okay,
it is not an Indian origin.
Sorry to interrupt you here, Sharath, again back.
Yeah, please go on.
Logic, and they have their own theories, and they are also proving that this is a scientific, and dermatology is one of the part of it. Of course, there's a debate and there's a business which has been turned out, and there is a lot of franchises coming out. We are not going to debate into that. My basic point here is when I'm sitting in front of any questionnaire, when I'm filling it out, I just wanted to understand how can you consider that whether it is biased. Obviously, it is going to be based on my mood at that point in time. Even if I say black is black, I can even say black and white, because at that point in time, what is my mood and what is my observation, it's going to be different. For my understanding, I want to know what are that mechanism, or how do you understand that it is not biased, or what he is saying or what I am saying is 100% accurate.
Okay, so first thing is, we are not trying to assess the bias of anybody. Correct? We are only trying to assess the personality of the person. So we are not sitting here to, say whether you are correct or wrong. We are not telling you whether you're correct or wrong also. In a personality test, anything can be correct, anything can be, taken. There are no right or wrong answers over there. What we are only trying to see is whether you've answered the test honestly or not. If you have answered the test honestly, then, we have a certain area, certain, thing that says that, the person has answered the test honestly. If you haven't, then we get that information also in the report. We call it a social desirability spectrum. So that will say that, you have answered the test, you have tried to manipulate the test. Or if you've got confused, and then that comes in saying that you have been confused, maybe you might want to take the test again or something like that, so that you get a proper test and result. So we are not trying to assess bias. We are not trying to say prove whether you're right or wrong. We cannot.
So maybe if it is okay with you, Shilpa ji, I will share my screen, and you can possibly I'll share my report which you had sent to me, so you can say where is it that I need to go. You tell me to stop, you can explain it to that doctor there.
Yeah.
Further down,
go ahead.
Yeah, see, this again is another thing where the time taken, this again is a indication of how sincere have you been. Okay, is what I understood. Because it has to be done within this range, otherwise it will not.
No, 1 or 2 minutes back and forth. I mean, less or more doesn't really matter. That's a range. That's all.
So if you see here, I took only 3 minutes, which means possibly I've done very quickly. This one I took a little slow. So this again is an indication of how consistent have I done that. This again is coming from time, is what I understand. So you go down here. Where do I stop here? You please tell me. This one is it?
No, next page.
This one is it?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
So here it says low. Yeah, the reports have changed now considerably since the time you took the test, sir.
Yeah.
So this report says low. So if it is low, then the person has answered it very honestly. They've not tried to manipulate it. If it comes high, then they've tried to manipulate the test.
Okay. So this again something which is, because all these tests, doctor, needs to be trained. It is not possible that somebody directly takes it and administers it. Even if you look at the other tests, there is some initial training required to be able to analyze the
test. You need to be
test.
qualified. Like
Qualified.
how, even though I might say that I'm Dr. Shilpa, but I'm not qualified to give you any medicines. That will be gross misuse on my part. Abuse of power on my part. So I'm not qualified. So, if you show me your blood report or something, I don't know what it means.
Yeah, that I think what Sharad ji said, it is something which one needs to really go into a little more depth. Now, there is another question here, Shilpa ji. Manjunath asking, how about Enneagram, madam?
Yeah, I'm not much familiar with Enneagram. I think I must have studied it 30, 40 years ago when I was a student. I've heard of it. I probably might have used it once or twice 20, 30 years ago, but I'm really not very conversant.
No, maybe I can tell you and you can possibly clarify that out. Enneagram basically has got 9 different types of people. Something similar to the MBTI. In the MBTI, you call it as ENTJ, for example. In the Enneagram, you call that person as a motivating director, or somebody as a hunter, somebody as a facilitator, diplomat. These are the names given. Again, it's a psychometric classification of people based on their multiple traits. That is again similar to what you can talk about as MBTI, or
similar to what we are doing. Yes.
Correct. And that is again not based on any what should I say, research, because the MBTI, Enneagram and MBTI come from Jung's research, is what I understand. Jung, Carl Jung, who was a very old psychologist.
And Jung followed, Indian philosophy. He only talks about in his last book that he has taken this from the Indian methodology. All his entire work, collective consciousness and everything, is based on the Indian knowledge systems.
Yeah, Manjunath, any further add-on questions? Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much. See, I have one more question to everybody in the audience. See, if you look at it, whether it is Shilpa ji trying to do something in terms of assessment, or Namrata doing something in cancer treatment with herbal medicines, etc. So all these are something which is unique, which is based out of the Indian grassroots, Indian background. But the market is flooded with Western concepts and Western ideas. What do you think would be the way we can propagate such innovative domestic knowledge, which is also scientific based? It's not just like that which is coming up. Anybody wants to comment on this? How can we really propagate this a little more than what it is today? Yeah, Amarji.
Awareness must be brought about the systems that we were found by our ancestors. I think so. That is very important. We should value our culture that has ethics, which has shared their philosophy. How these medications, analysis, assessments have been so correct. We go back to history and read back, and when you come back to today's assessment, we find that this was much earlier written in the Vedas and Puranas. I think so. This is what we should understand, and we should take it forward. Patanjali, no one knew Patanjali or yoga, Baba Ramdev, for a few years back.
Yeah. In fact, Ayurveda and yoga have taken on the world.
Yes.
And if they weren't good, if they weren't accurate, why would people do it?
Yes, absolutely.
And those are 5,000, 10,000 year old living traditions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I said. People are now going back to our root medicines, root-based analysis. They find it much comfort in that. I have been administrating and seeing this. I have myself adopted to this kind of nature cure, as you say. We go to Jindal. Basically, everyone you ask, every third person, I'm going to Jindal. Yeah. Why are you going to Jindal? Kopa. I have been to Kopa for my own, myself, me and my wife went. I think so. Nature cure is the best remedy, as you say, for your life. It has no other side effects of the modern medications. But still, we live in a stressed world, and we find relief under the modern medications.
Okay, thank you so much.
Because it's instantaneous, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
instantaneous.
Thank you so much. Dr. Sharath, bataiye. You had some contribution.
There are a couple of things from my side.
Yeah, please go
One
on.
thing is what we are actually looking at this life context is immediate relief, as earlier already said. We need a quick relief. We need immediate results. That's where we stick to. And promoting to our base roots like Ayurveda or Purana, Upanishad, everything. First and foremost, there are too many organizations or too many solutions which are coming out, which we need to understand and validate. Are they really true to the challenge what they are talking about? If we understand and we validate that, yes, this is going to be realistic and this is going to be worth considering, awareness is one of the things which we are lacking.
Yeah,
With
very good. Thank you so much.
any of these things, instant relief is not possible.
Yeah,
There's a time
absolutely.
delay.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you so
based
much.
on that, we need to create that awareness. I think then we'll able to do it. And
Thank you so
most
much.
importantly, all these, whether it is a Patanjali or Wipro or anything, they are more into the business, including the halal certification. It
Yeah.
is of no meaning.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
we need to come out, do out with that and come away with a different solution. That's what my submission is.
Absolutely. But again, another thing, I think anybody else wants to add? Manjunath ji, you want to add something? Please go on. You are on mute, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it is better. Yeah, please go on.
Okay. I would say let's continue to do the best of the work what we have been doing, like Madam Shilpa is doing. And there will be a day where definitely these things will pick up the way, the yoga has picked up, our naturopathy has picked up. I know it is only a marketing and sales gimmick which is ruling the world in terms of other products and services. But the true value, definitely people will realize sooner rather later, and we're going to get it. So I think the true ambassadors we should continue to do, even if it is in the lower scale, one at a time, and I think we will find a way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See, anybody else wants to add anything? Otherwise, I had some one thought came to me when Dr. Sharaj was talking about the validation, and then So if you look at many methods which come from abroad, we take it for granted. I don't think anybody questions whether the MBTI works or not. No, I don't think anybody questions whether DISC works or not.
But they will give you 10,000 questions whether the Indian one works or not.
Yeah. Why is it that? Why? Are we scared of ourselves, or are we ashamed of ourselves?
No, we are fascinated, and then we are eager to follow the Western culture. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Anything with a Gorachiti chap has more value than anything Indian does.
That's the colonial mindset.
Absolutely. You're right.
So anyway, that's something. And the next one which I had to request you, Shilpa ji, in our SIT group, there are a lot of people who are mentors, coaches, who are counselors, who work with children. In fact, we had 3 or 4 who came to the SIT chat itself, who are working with children, spastic children, who are working with differently able children, etc. To really see. And then there was one lady who basically is trying to talk about how to have better families and all that. Now, for all these people, is it possible that we can organize another session like this, or I'll connect you to all those people and maybe you explain to them what Swayam is. Maybe they can use it before the as a diagnostic tool, because
no,
more
this
and
will
more.
not do any diagnosis. We are working on providing career guidance for special needs children, so that we can do.
No, not that. For their own clients, the Swayam assessment could be used as a diagnostic tool before they really do anything, right? Today they're possibly trying to do only through discussion and talking to them, finding out what their background is. This could give an added information, which could give that. Then the next thing is, are you organizing any kind of a training program, Shilpa ji, for, let us say, people to get qualified as Swayam assessors?
No, I'm planning to do that shortly. In the next 2-3 months, we're planning to launch that.
Now, right now, how many assessors do you have for Swayam tool?
In-house, whatever we have, other than me, I have another psychologist who's trained, and then a couple of junior psychologists. That's all.
And this training means what base is required for that? What is the qualification that one need to have to really
A
go through
basic
this?
psychology degree.
Or with non-psychologists cannot do the assessment, is it?
Difficult. No.
See, because if you see all the psychometric assessment, DISC assessment, or Enneagram, or MBTI, or elements, insights, multiple things are there. Most of the HR fraternity in the country say that they're all qualified there. There are qualified
they
DISC
will say
assessors.
that, but are they really? Can I say that I attend a 3-day workshop and I become a doctor? Can I do that?
No, but again, there my question is, if the Western media by doing that are able to get propagation in the society.
See, Western media will market anything and everything. They will market. Right now, they've taken pranayama from us. They've marketed it as breath work. They've marketed it as mindfulness, and we are buying it.
How to become a millionaire. The teach is how to become a millionaire.
Yeah. So they will market, they will, bottle, air, and then they'll sell it to you and we will buy it.
Okay. Okay.
We are fascinated. We are fascinated. We are fascinated by their talks.
Yeah.
Understand.
Correct.
Understand. And another question which I had was for the SIT group. Okay. Generally, when we ask for any activity, whether it's a SIT chat or whatever it is, about 15 to 20 people turn up. Okay. Now, would you be interested in offering a free assessment so that you can have more ambassadors in the SIT group itself?
We'll have to cap it somewhere, no? But
no,
completely free doesn't work.
No, see, when I say free, you look at, maybe we say that you give free, and after 10, we will say if 10 people have done that, then the 11th we will say we'll charge. Or we can say up to 10 is free, up to 20 is free for SIT members, because you need ambassadors, Shilpaji. I feel quite, what should I say, weak in not being able to help you out to become more popular in the psychometric world.
Okay.
Whatever you explained here is really outstanding.
Very sweet of you.
Just give it a thought, if it is 20, 30, because you have got an online tool. It's not that you're going to be spending effort.
Sure. We'll give 25 free to SIT.
Something like that. No, you don't need to take a decision today, but I'm just thinking through whether that could give popularity. They would only get the free assessment if they talk about Swayam in the WhatsApp, for example. They have to tell their story, what happened.
Okay.
Without that, they won't get the free assessment. Something like that. We can come up with some model. Sharatji, please go on. You wanted to comment something. Please go on, sir.
I just want to add a couple of things from my personal point of view. I am a certified counselor from Nimans. That's one part. And I have studied psychology, although it is my not from the educational qualification, but after that I have studied it. I have done a couple of certifications in psychology, mind, and other things. Various things. I have 5 psychological and mind assessment theories. In that case, if I want to associate with you, it's a personal question. I hope others will not mind on that. Associate with you and promote, and then get used to it, and then promote it to you. What is it required for me? It's a direct question.
Yeah, I think we can take that offline.
Hope I put the questions right.
Yeah, that's totally fine. But I think we could take this offline. This is a very personal kind of a question. What do you say, Dinakar, sir?
No, I would imagine, Shilpaji, you please tell everybody that they are most welcome to contact you.
Let
us
absolutely most welcome to contact me anytime. Absolutely anytime. You can contact me.
And let us take this, whatever Dr. Sharath is telling. If we can become an ambassador of yours, maybe you can just briefly explain as to how the process is. First is you have to have a chat with her. Maybe I'll talk on her behalf. Because
sorry to interrupt you, Dinkarji. Basically,
so you want her to talk. Okay.
Where I'm coming from is basically I am not a psychologist.
Yeah.
I have not studied the psychology in my curriculum, but I have studied and certified in different occasions and with the different universities.
Yeah.
In that case, it is applicable, it is acceptable, and where others do stand. If that can be elaborated, others will definitely get contact with you.
Yeah, please go on, Shilpaji.
Yeah, so if you've had one is that you need to have a basic degree, BA, BSc, become anything. Second is that if you've had some exposure to psychology, maybe done a couple of courses, there's some interest that, the demonstrated interest that you have in psychology and you understand the psychological principles, I think then it would become easier to teach or even, facilitate you to learn more about what has gone behind SWAYAM and how the whole thing works. And third is if you have some, inclination towards Indian psychology. If you have read any of the classical texts, that would be an added advantage because lots of things are based on the knowledge systems in the Vedas, Upanishads, or even Bhagavad Gita. If you have read, it's not read, but studied. That would be, I think, great. Enough for us to take you into the certification program and give you a certificate.
Yeah. So if I may suggest, Shilpa ji, tomorrow or day after, I normally share the recording of the video. Along with that, if you can give me a write-up as to what would be the prerequisites for somebody to get qualified as a SWAYAM assessor. Okay. And I will circulate that also along with the video so that people who are interested can contact you. And in my opinion, maybe you need to give a thought to that, Shilpa ji. In my opinion, somebody who is, let us say, beyond 50, 55 years old, has done multiple roles in his life, has been a parent, has been a manager, has been a worker, has been a social worker, has been a volunteer. When he has done so many works, I'm sure for that such kind of a person, understanding psychology will not be difficult. To understanding people.
It should be a criteria.
Correct. No, correct. So what I'm trying to say is, please don't. My recommendation. Okay, I'm not the psychologist. Please don't be very firm on telling that somebody should have a psychology degree for getting assisted as a SWAYAM assessor, and also try to see what kind of other experiences in life would qualify you to be mature enough to be an assessor.
I think that's a very good suggestion. I'll take that up.
Then I will definitely touch base with you. We can work on that. And once it is done, along with the video, I'll share that also. Now,
very well said, Dinakar. Very well said.
Shilpa ji, I have a question.
Yeah, please go on, Amarji.
Yeah. Have you connected to hospitals?
Modern hospitals, no, sir.
No. Because I think so, your talk basically, when I went through today, I think so a lot of patients who get admitted to serious kind of issues, maybe Nimans, Kidwai, or dialysis, basically, they are so traumatic about going through the phases of getting better in life. I think so you could be a great resource for them to come out of the trauma.
No, again, COVID trauma is also reoccurring.
Correct.
That's a part of life.
No, but more than Amarji and Shilpa ji, more than she being a direct resource, she could be the kind of a resource for the counselors. In all these hospitals, they have got local counselors there. So for them, your assessment could be an input, provided the patient is agreeing to take that. It's not.
Provided the patient, because when they come to the hospital, they're in a critical state.
Absolutely.
So that time they don't have time or patience to do these kind of things. And we assess the prakriti, not the vikriti. So if they're in a disease state, then the whole interpretation changes. So that becomes a very different kind of assessment. So I have not studied this on, I've studied this only on normal people without any mental or physical ailments. So if we bring in those kind of things, then we'll have to recalibrate the test again and all that. So this will not be useful over that. For that kind of a situation.
Okay. Manish ji, over to you. Please go on.
No. Namaste, Shilpa ji. Thank you, Dinakar, for
Namaste, Manish ji. Nice to connect with you again.
So, just a brief thing.
Once again, Manish ji, please introduce yourself once again for the benefit of everyone. Yeah, please.
Myself, Manish, and I also run an assessment platform, but it is for any type of assessment for corporates and for educational institutions. Okay, I have taken the assessment from Shilpa ji's tool, and I second that. It is a very nice assessment, and it gave me the right feedback. Actually, the report was very apt to as what I am actually, and so that's
Thank
what
you for that. Loud and clear testimonial, Manish ji.
And we also discuss about integrating of our tools actually, but it is still in the pipeline because of my some advancement in the tool, and due to certain patents filing, we are limited for opening the tool for all actually. So that were the limitations. Coming to the question actually, that we discuss about the founders, that what assessments could be there for founders, and sometime before actually, right, Sandeep ji has taken a sit chat, and in that it was spoken that we have to create a story around the founders, right? So is it something like this one, that once this tool is asking about the traits of the founders, can with those inputs actually, can you create a story and share that as well, which the founders can use? That's the question. And I second that thought which Dinkarji had said this one, that maybe the psychologist degree might not be required, because Nimhans runs a course actually which is called Ask actually, and they are actually, they train 40 plus year people actually to be the counselors. They can have any degree actually, right? So maybe there it could be the thing that degree might not be required.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I just said that, maybe we can skip that based on what Dinkar Suri sir had said. Sorry, Dinkar Krishna sir had said. So that is something that, we will, seriously consider and see how we can open it up to, people with some life experience and some background, qualification. But I didn't understand your other question, Manish ji.
He was telling that if you could, when you are giving this profile of what kind of people can get into the assessment qualification, whether you could do a story of yourself, personal story, because in one of our earlier SIT chats, one of the key.
Yeah, in fact, I think Sneha Pai, she's done a story around me.
So that link also you send it across, so we can share that also.
Yeah.
We can share that.
I said that link.
See, I have overheard Manish telling that because of patent, he's not giving it to some companies. What is that problem? Because you are...
No. He and his company and my
I
company, we were supposed to do an integration to,
it is,
offer our tests to his clients. But because he's got busy with a patent application and all that, we were not able to go ahead with that. That's
patent
what
application for what? For your tool, is it?
Not mine, his. That's what he said.
So because see the patent...
Mine I have already filed.
See, patent, it's a very, very tricky thing.
Yeah.
I worked in a company called as Bosch. Bosch is the company in the world which generates the maximum number of patents every day. Okay. Most of the patents that we generate are to misguide the competition. Let me be very frank. This is a trade secret. This is a trade secret. Because if you look at the patent, you have got a lot of things, new ideas which you keep getting and you try it out. Whatever that you tried out and it worked, we would not patent it. Okay. Unless it is something which can be easily identified in the market. If it's a process patent, I think in your case, it would be something similar to a process patent, because you have to explain.
Mine is a process patent, yes.
So that is a dangerous thing, extremely dangerous thing. You should not do that.
Yeah.
I would
how you do it. It makes a lot of difference.
I would totally discourage you to do that patent. Don't take it.
It's already been applied for, sir.
Take it out. You withdraw the application, because moment you put it in the patent office, every Tom, Dick and Harry in every university, everywhere in the world, they can see what you are doing. Okay.
Oh, no. That I know. That we have not given the full thing.
No, they know. See, when you are writing a patent, unless you are justifying your results through some standard process, it won't be accepted as a patent, right?
No. I know. We have taken care of all that.
So that is something which is extremely important. Otherwise, your entire knowledge will get exposed.
Knowledge will go. Yeah, I know.
So
somebody from the US will pick it up and then they'll repackage it and send it back.
So we would only do it where it is, where you can make sure that it is a different product also altogether. Instead of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they may call it as Alpha, Beta, Gamma. Okay, it may be a different word altogether, but then they'll come up with the same thing. So you should be a little careful.
Perfectly correct.
A little careful. Yeah, Manjunath, please go on.
One second, Dinkarji. Actually, my question was different. Actually, see now.
Yeah, please go. Hold on, Manjunath. Yeah, first we will complete Manish. Yeah, please go on, Manish.
Shilpa ji, you said this one, right? That Sneha Pai is doing the stories and all this one. That is a different thing, right? What I'm saying this one, right? That founder's story, right? So you are collecting the information about a person who is taking a test, actually, right? With all this information, can you generate a story about the person?
I don't know if the person will be comfortable with us putting it out there in public. No, it's a very personal thing.
You
No,
can
I mean,
change the names out, no, ma'am.
Yeah,
we can change the names. You don't have to reveal the same name and the place and whatever.
No,
and
no,
then as a case study.
I mean to say that story, share that story with the person in his own report, actually, right? It's up to the person whether he wants to make it public or not to make it public.
See, we can interpret the person's personality. We can't write stories around it, no?
Okay,
Then that becomes fiction.
What I was
We are
thinking
not-
actually, what I was thinking that Sandeep ji had said this one in his sit chat that come to me, I would listen to you, and then I would give you a story about you. Okay, that's what Sandeep ji had said this one. Now you are also collecting all the information, right? All the traits and all this one. So
No.
that was my idea was, can you generate a story?
No, I don't think it will be possible. For
No.
in
She
psychometric assessment, it's not possible.
she can do the assessment of all SIT members and then share the story completely. That's the best thing.
Yeah, Manjunath, please go on. Last chance, last one. Please go on, Manjunath.
Yeah, Dr. Shilpaji, thank you so much. I've already sent the invite to connect on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'll accept it.
Sure. Just a background. So my name is Manjunath Rao. I run a community called Career Transformative Lab. I'm a career coach. So I work with a lot of people to help them in strengthening their career journey and find a meaningful work. So in this process, currently I'm using some third-party assessment tools, but I would love to explore your tools first for myself as well as see how we can collaborate. But concept-wise, looks amazing, and I'm eager to deep dive further. Thank you so much for this insight.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I would be happy to do that.
Thank you very much, Manjunath. And thanks a lot.
Sorry, Dinakar.
Yeah, please go on.
Where's our Sagar today?
Huh?
Where is our Sagar?
Sagar has been one of the biggest support for Swayam from day one.
Sagar is on high seas. Sagar में है, ocean के अंदर है.
Okay, super.
In fact, he's given me a testimonial saying that our tests are 95% plus accurate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks a lot. Thank you so much, Shilpaji. And
Thank
then,
you.
as always, Amarji, over to you to conclude the session today.
Yeah, good evening to all of you today. Shilpa, that our family has been, I know them for many years. Even when I met her for the first time, I was so happy to know about her activities. Today, I think so good knowledge she has shared. What we missed today, good, wonderful knowledge about our ancestral history on medication, on medicines that we call it as Dadima ki dawai.
Correct.
Dadima ki medicines. Even today, I remember my mother's father was an Ayurvedic doctor in Rajasthan. He used to go on camel. So my mother learned the same thing, and she taught some of us what basic medications can help you in getting well soon. But today, most of us, in our children or the youngsters, we have not inculcated these necessities. I think so. You have shared a wonderful platform, Shilpa, today. And I think so many people will connect with you, because I think so there was a connectivity that was missing from you towards what you do exactly. Everyone thinks you are a coach, you are doing something, because what we understand is you are a coach, mentor, as Dinakar sir always says, but there are different aspects of when you listen to someone. And today I think it was a perfect platform to listen to you. And I would invite all of you for a multiple sclerosis program that we are going to have it on 28th at the Rotary House of Friendship. I share my joy with the MS patients. And one thing I have seen several patients as what you have assessed, your assessment, how they have recovered from multiple sclerosis, which no one knows how it happens. And multiple sclerosis is a big issue today. And I request all of you to join. I'll share the invite on the platform and also share it with you. Please do join. It's on 28th. I would be there. Most of it's by Rotary. One of my best friends, Shankar Subramaniam, is organizing that. And there's a lot of people from Nimans and St. John's doctors have come to address this platform. So wonderful insight you have given today, Shilpaji, and I wish you all the best. Look forward to listening more to you, learning more from you.
Thank you, sir. That
Thank
was
you.
very kind of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Those of you who are
Thank you
online,
very much, Dinakar, sir.
would you like to switch on your cameras and just take a snapshot as a memory for today? And then we close the meet. Thank you so much. And then let's meet again next Thursday on a different topic.
My heartful thanks to Dinakar sir, so energetic like Sagar, every week he gives a new dose. Wait, we have to wait for Saturday. I'm sorry, Thursdays. Every Thursdays, I don't want to miss, even if I'm traveling or anywhere. I would definitely not miss a program on Thursdays.
Thank
So
you
I
so
think
much.
so wonderful platform that you have made us join. Dinakar sir,
Like
thank you so much.
Chitrahar, those days, our
Chitrahar,
sit
correct.
chat has become to wait for each
Thank you.
Thursday.
Thank you
Kaun
so much.
banega crorepati? Kaun banega
Thank you.
crorepati?
Kaun
Thank you,
banega
sir.
crorepati?
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you so
Dinakar
much.
sir
Thank you so
handles
much.
it very well. Yeah.
Thank
Oh
you.
yes,
Thank
so
you.
well, so well. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Very
Bye-bye.
happy to be.
Bye-bye.
Very happy to
Bye-bye.
be.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night,
Good night.
everybody.